So now with Olive, same thing too. You'll do head control. The reason I'm going to show you, so head control even can come from here.
Okay.
So if you're just right here, even using your chest, and the chest is fine because if I just rotate here and here, the head's going to move. Right. So, you know, you can really get funky with that. Or two, you can even, you know, like with this one, it would be upper quadrant vision, but in Olive's case, but again, I'm going to snuggles with you after, after lunch. But, you know, you can be off to the side, just like I was doing with the baby. But, you know, I wasn't expecting to get bit in the cheek, but I was just there to get that spine rotation. If that's what I have to do, by all means, look at what, and the chances are too now, because I've got my hand, let's say maybe here, that she has to come and cross midline, but I'm right there in that pelvis. Now where I'll give you some variations, where I like with hippotherapy, I can be my own horse. Anytime, see, I can move my knee in, move my knee in. Now again, this child's feet are square. Over here, or I can start giving some input with the foot into the floor, all of that. I love horses, but I love horses.
Yeah.
Child might, it's 15 hands high, there's hay, there's this, you've got to risk allergies, time, outsort, side flock. It might be just a sensory mess, but it might be something that the child's going to go,
yeah.
When we rafted down the Animas River, this is when we were up at the Durango Silverton, it was the first time in my life I didn't feel like I had a special needs child. Graham in the raft was like, Mom, we've got to raft every river in the United States of America. He was just like, and what was really funky is the man asked, who wants to jump in? Now, no offense, like snowmelt? No. Graham went off that front end of the boat and came around 3 times. He was just like, I'll do it.
Wow.
You know, so there are times when he is just Superboy. I mean, he really will just be like, okay. And there's other times, like today, he was supposed to have a picture of him, a young picture, and then one now because of his promotion, but there was supposed to be a balloon that we taped it on. Can't find the balloon anywhere. It's a picture of a balloon. So he doesn't bring the pictures in. Graham, you didn't bring the pictures in. Yeah, but I don't have my balloon. Like, project not done, can't submit. Like, well, bring the pictures in. I'm sure she has a spare balloon. You know, like, can't think that far.
Yeah.
So that's where you want to go. So much of that straight A student. And Gordon's worse. Even my mom finally got it when we were at Disney World 2 years ago. He can't problem solve. Ding, 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 ding. Like, hello? So from here, look at that, what you were doing with Donna.
Yeah.
Boop, and go for a pre-stand. And again, just like that toy we were just watching, this initiation of standing here. Now, this is where you might have to work with Jared, and this is where you can do so much more as a couple and a family that I don't have, you know. First of all, Jared could be, you know, again, or you, vice versa,
Right.
but the document stuffing, you know, do you want it here or you want it here? Or more so over here. But if document stuffing's going to be here, again, mathematics, then you definitely want to be on that right to work on that head turn. But this is not where you want to be over here.
Right.
When you want. Now, as she gets better and she can lean, let's say, on feet, that's when you would be pushing in and that she can do that. Because then she's pushing in with her right foot. This is getting out of a car. We don't push down with her left foot and try and get out. That's where that cross starts to come. But that would be more complex. But for the most part, you would just be here working on the left foot going in and her turning around that way. But same thing too, where if you want to get even, where Jared holds the knees lightly and light twisting, and or the head up kind of thing, and I can't do it with the baby, but so here, you just come over there and just like reach your head up. So you can be doing something like that where you're supporting this, where you could be here working on the pelvis.
Okay.
And at least letting her get more foot input.
Gotcha.
You know, things like that. So.
But when you were doing that, would you want to like not only just hold the head up, but as he's like applying one foot, would you want to be like putting the head a little bit up very slightly in the opposite direction or anything?
Well, that'll come with time, but right now, again, if you're going to work on transitioning a child, especially, what people don't think about with a child, especially, they think of walking and running, which is great. I'm going for that too, but it's the actual initiation of coming over your feet. That's transitioning. If worst case scenario, if that's all she gets out of it, by God, at least she can transfer at 15 from the wheelchair to the toilet.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people never get that in with CP. And then, because more and more they're like this. Well, from here, are your feet going to go push through and make adjustments? You do that and you swallow. Let me feed you and swallow in that position. That's where I don't like the tomato chairs. I get it, they look comfy, but that's not practical. But with a child with no head control, you can't get over the pelvis. But what if daddy can sit there and go and let her, I don't care if she's ripping off his handlebar mustaches, you know, kind of thing. That's getting the hands over the shoulders. That's doing all of those things while mommy's here, which I can't do with this guy, and working on that pelvis, but working over that feet. That maybe one day when she's going to rip dad's handlebars off, that oops, all of a sudden she starts pushing through the feet. And let me tell you, if Olive does that versus you trying to do it, once Olive starts doing that, we have hit the ball out of the park. I would just be like, all right, now we can go. Because until they actually feel, and that you saw that with Dax, you know, so when he first rolled over, right, it's this. But when all of a sudden, he learned how to play the game, I'm pretty damn cute, you know? But then again, this is where I was really specific. Hold mirror here, hold mirror here. Let me sit there so he can learn the first time that his eyes can go up and overflow versus head doing this and trying to lift. Because again, a 2-month-old baby, when they're like this, they're not going to think, damn, now I'm going to go get that mirror.
Yeah.
Out of sight, out of mind. And people don't understand that. They go, come on, baby, come on.
Yeah, no, they're thinking, I need to breathe. And they're going
Right,
into
and
panic.
then they'll, yeah. So that's why I quickly jump in. Keep the mirror over here, and over here, and over, right here, because what I'm looking for, and at first he didn't see himself in this position. And then when he did, when I had the eyes, then I can sit there and go, and the eyes stayed on the prize because I can see the mirror, you know. But where I was excited, it was the left hand, he suddenly pushed through. Mm-hmm. That sudden, that in any position, this is one thing, and this is what people shoot for, CME, all these kind of therapies. Wow, my child's on all fours. No. To me, first of all, I'll over-exaggerate, it's a rotation. Because even if it's here, there's a rotation that happens. But first of all, again, it's that two opposing forces. I press through. But then it's that shift of weight that I can do this. But when I'm like this, like a bulldog, like if a child presents like a bulldog, they remove a hand, they're a three-legged table, they're gonna just fall face plant.
Well, isn't that different kind of push-ups?
Yeah, but what?
I mean, try it, it's a lot harder.
Yeah, but with push-ups too, a child doesn't lift their bodies, much less lift an apple.
Right. But you'll never get that hand off the floor.
But you can't transfer weight. Yeah, you'll never get the hand off the floor because it'll protect the self from falling rather than going into locomotion. So at that point, that's where you see kids bear crawl. So now put your hands like this, and now stick one leg out to the side. Stick a leg out to the side. No, just to the side. Yeah, but just stick it out on the floor. There you go. See how higher your head goes up? And see what it does to your arm? And that's where you see kids crawl like this. Wow. Okay. But if I put my knees down and bulldog it,
Like that.
where does the head go? I'm going to go into a wall. How can I crawl?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I stick my leg out, and it brings the head up. And that's why they're doing that. They still don't have good spine head organization. And so that's what they're doing. So that's when I look at that with a kid like that, and they're like, fix him, he's not normal, but that kid's so brilliant. If that kid figured out that to do that, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to be at a different... facing me. Same thing, straddle. This is a great pose because you can feed, even with a spoon, you can do that. I can do, I can do a sparkly necklace, all of that kind of thing. I can tell her a story, but just like the horse, I can be right here.
Okay.
Now, obviously, he's just nestling, but, you know. Now, again, if you want to start more, again, I've got head support, my arms around here, but I literally can be, see, pelvis off the table, foot, pelvis. But that can be like, you know, getting ready for bed, all that kind of, where you would normally just be like, come here, sweetheart, let me snuggle. Even if they're snuggling up high, kind of thing. Now this is where she's a little small. Feet here, and this is a great move.
Okay.
Right? You can either straddle it, but you're looking for a point, again, where the feet are here, and that moment where they push up. But see, in this position, they can't go into a flexion, they can't throw the head back because they're going into you. So this is another great way of working on that leg stuff. Now again, if she's a little bit taller, guess what?
Yeah.
She could be sitting here and putting the feet on the table. But again, where you can have all that support, you're being motherly, nobody's going to be, you know, you can be like watching a movie while she's going to sleep. Or if she is asleep, and just work that spine. But what's nice about that, see how much my chest can twist? Or I can go long to allow that back to elongate. So you can really use yourself nicely in this kind of position. But see, in that position, so Dax was more here, right? So head was nestled. I can come underneath the pelvis now. See, I twist the pelvis out, where I push the spine in. I'm right here if they want to come out, and you know, so it's a good position that way. But just again, that rotation, his hand can be here, just like we worked on the other day. And you can be, even my head here, I can use that to rotate off the head. I'm not squishing him. So, I can do this for hours. I mean, not a real baby, but, or like she said, like he likes his arm, he tends to fall asleep this way, he likes his arm underneath. Well, gosh, I can work the whole pelvis foot. And that's where you see me go, you know, because if they think, you know, if somehow their nervous system can organize like, oh, but if I get a kiss, if I get that knee up there, like, again, that's coordination, that's all sorts of stuff. You're close enough here that you can sit there, because that's another thing that our kids don't get to do. We don't do any hand over hand. One thing that's indicative of a special needs kid, they don't scratch your back. They don't do this at all. They really don't know this exists. So another way of a baby. So if you see, like, again, a typical 3-year-old go almost through the phase like.
Yeah.
Well, my mommy said, you know, for whatever reason, again, this is a milestone that happened, again with the head tilt. But if my head doesn't tilt and I've got to stick up my butt, you know what I mean? It's very difficult to bring, and might not even know I have a back if I didn't crawl. One of the things that Moishe Feldenkrais had a meeting with Margaret Mead, and she said, I've tried to teach these or Aborigines or some kind of whatever, the Charleston. They can't do it. He goes, well, either you were an idiot with your observations, this is where Moishe is, or they've never crawled. And she's like, what do you mean they've never crawled? And she goes, well, they'd never set up this pelvis. And yes, they believe that if the child crawled, animal spirits would get in. And therefore they prevented crawling, so they would papoose until the child was ready. Well, I happened to have a girl from South Africa who was raised, her nanny would not let her crawl. until she was ready. Now this girl at 6 could sell ice to Eskimos. But when she first came to me, I had crayons and paper, and she literally was like this. And barely could have her eyes open while she scribbled. And I was literally like, because there was no mechanism of spinal muscles moving, you know? And I was like, this girl's never crawled. But like never. Like it wasn't even and their jaws dropped like I was like some kind of spoon bender. And they said, yeah, her nanny wouldn't let her crawl. So her third lesson, she's like, are you touching my butt? And I'm like, finally, you know you have one, because she didn't. And she had 9 lessons with me, 3 a week for 3 weeks straight. And she's like, I don't fall out of bed anymore because I come see you. Here she was just a clumsy ox. She didn't, like if she went to sit down in the corner of her couch, she'd fall off. She couldn't ride a bike. This is why they came. She couldn't ride a bike and she couldn't use scissors. And they couldn't explain why she did not know how to cut with scissors. So, and all of those improved or came around, and they're like, but you didn't work on scissor cutting yet. But yeah, I worked on all of this. Mm-hmm. And that, I was still training. I didn't get any money for that. But I see her now on Facebook. She's one of my oldest out there. I think she's like 15. Here lying down. This is what's nice about the little guys versus the bigger ones.
Yes.
And what I like too, again, is just the hanging. And the hanging's good to get fine gravity.
Okay.
So at CP, you'll tend to get more of that startle. But what they didn't get, again, movement. And you see the cupcake. Again, these are the things, the quality of cupcakes, but they're actually finding the floor. So a child will start going backwards, and the legs will dangle, because they have, again, they don't have the spatial orientation of what's going on. They don't know that the bed is 10 feet or if it's 2 inches. What I really like to see the clever ones on Facebook where they throw a bunch of pillows down. Like, how does this child know at this age to like throw their sheet over the crib and make these things happen? You know what I mean? Like some of these little flipping 1-year-olds are just so smart. But again, what Olive wasn't exposed to is just the weight of gravity that her feet could just hang. So this is where you get kids where they tend to surfboard out and stuff. But what's nice too, look at that. I can just go knees into the table and do all of that we did. Rotate here, I'm just using the table. Now obviously I'm not fixing her head anymore, but you know. And I could be here, I can be, again, my counter,